Okay, now the best way I found for setting this up was using a dial indicator, and if I can get this, that's the go, come on. Now what I did, attach it here first, let the reader loose. Because this thing, on account of its length, is it's very easily moved. So secure it here, secure it in the far end. I had to make these brackets for the simple reason that to screw this on here, I needed to have it down low where I could get it on this place. At the height it's at, that is going right through where this V is, so you just couldn't. So I had to make these. It allowed me to lift it up and keep it out a bit, more or less in line with this area here, but this is uneven. It's a fuck up, it was never finished. It's just the original rough casting. The lazy bastards, they couldn't finish it right. So the first thing is, get this on as close to thing as you can. Then using the dial gauge, use it on this top part, don't put it on the reader part here in the center. Set it up for this. And what you want to make sure is, as you feed across and come back, that it's not wandering in and out. Once you can get that sorted, you might have to shim one of these, more than likely. You're only looking at a very small shim like. Then again you set it up. Don't set it up here, you're wasting no fucking time putting it up there. Set it up from here, and you're getting your meter down on the top like this. Fucking blocking the camera now, I suppose. You know, you want to read like that. Again, feed in and out. You might have to come up or down, level it off, get it running through, leaving this guy loose. Now you might have to move him around a bit according as you go, but reset yourself, spend a bit of time at it. And once you get that far, once this guy is running through with the travel, both along the top and along the side, then you can work on this guy. That guy can be a pain to sort out due to this. Now what I did is I made a second bracket. The brackets that come with it are a waste of time. I just used one on the back, and then I made another bracket to come down here. I tried to do a bit of filing and rasping to level that thing off as best I could, which meant I had to take the whole thing off and start all over again. It took me a while to get this job done. And even at that, I still had to come along and shim behind these. So I elongated all the holes, give yourself plenty of room. I'm using, I think M6s was just what I had. I would have liked to have more M5s or even M4 or something small, so that you can give yourself plenty adjustment. What I did then, I have a few of these yokes there. Where the hell is my long one? Yeah, well, what I basically had was I had one set here, one of these is slightly longer, and then I had a longer one, one on either side, resting on this guy. And what you're watching for again is to get it through with the travel of this yoke. It has to be absolutely true with it. Knock that guy off a minute. And that I found was the hardest to get right. Now I initially thought I was pretty good, but testing with a dial gauge here, this thing turned the other way around, and as I was feeding, readings were, it just wasn't accurate enough. You were, it could be out a quarter of a millimeter, times it was out half a millimeter. But I just kept working on it, and I found that by using the two, you'll see one or the other moving. So you know then that as this is going through, it's putting pressure on this. So it's a lot of fiddling, a lot of adjusting, and you eventually get to the stage where this guy's feeding across. You know you have this guy straightened, so you need to straighten this guy with it. Another thing was just to keep a very close eye here. Maybe even just put a little, with a small marker, a little mark here, and watch as you start to feed that it actually moves, because what can happen is it can push the reader before it, and that's what's still happening to me. That is where I'm losing the 100th of a millimeter. Once I fire this thing up, the first movement I do, I lose 100th of a millimeter, and I just can't seem to get that out of it. Now, if I move half a millimeter, yep, I'm going to lose that 100th. The next half a millimeter, quarter millimeter, whatever I move, it stays accurate with it. So you could do 10 tips in, as long as this flicker of a thing stays on, and that's all you're going to lose is that first 100th. Allow for that, and then just keep going. Normally what I do is when I touch off something and come back, touch off, set 0, come back, go forward. If I have a movement made, if I'll have this on before I touch on, and it'll be reading whatever the hell, but I just pay no attention to that, and then 0 it. Yes, I'm accurate then. Once I have some movements done and then 0 it, it will be accurate to that. So if I have something in the chuck and I'm a couple of millimeters out from it or whatever, and I wheel in, touch off, hit 0, if I go in whatever, be it a quarter, half a millimeter, go in, take a good heavy cut, go in a millimeter or two, it will be accurate to that. It's that initial movement, and I can't just get to the bottom of it. Now, what happened to me now yesterday was I was working on something like that, and I had to take it down quite a bit. Next thing, this fucking thing just went off. So I just had to start again. I had to do another touch off from where I was, 0 it, and then, yeah. But yeah, that's a problem. It will not stay on, and I'm going to have to spend time and fiddle around with it and find out where the hell this thing is screwing up. Now also I put on here is a bump stop, just to keep me from knocking the tail end there. If I'm using a drill bit or anything, keep me from knocking the tailstock up against the reader, even though I have a cover to go over it. But I just took it off there to explain. First of all, get this guy lined up, both across, and take it from the saddle, because this thing is moving on the saddle. So take it from the saddle, you can work both sides. As I say, you might have to do, I've had to do a small little shim on this one. You can hardly bloody see it. It was, I think it's a 0.4 of a millimeter or something. What I've actually in there is it's off a feeler gauge with a hole drilled in it for the screw, and that gave me my true line straight across. Now don't have this guy tied on when you're doing that. Get that done first, then check the top that it's running, that it's not up or down or any stupid thing like that. Get that sorted. Now you can do that because these holes, there's only one screw actually. It's only designed for one screw. They're elongated, and I use the original screws. They're M4s, I believe. I know they will hold it, but like I said, this thing is, like I'm using very little pressure there now, and it's waddling around. That's it. Get this guy sorted first, then work on this guy. And again, what I found with trial and error was by putting a dial gauge on it, sitting on it from here, or from this side. I used it from there because I had a good long reach with the one I was using, and I was able to tell from that if I had a movement in this thing when I moved across slide, and you just have to adjust that out of it, and it's a lot of shimming. Now I would presume that most lathes, this surface here would be square with this, which would get you pretty close for a starter, but this thing was, looking, it's bent that way and it's bent down that way. It's a fucking disaster of a job. So that is that, and now I have somebody else coming into the middle of the fucking yard. Jesus. Right. Right, so I got sidetracked there. I had to look after a guy, one of these farmer brown jobs. He comes in with a stub axle off an old Massey 188 Massey Ferguson, and of course it's worn. I know what the problem is. First he needs to do the bushing, but he brings this in, and this is what he gives me, a bit of a fag box or something, and put that much all round on it, it should be fine. That is priceless. Told him to get the bushing out, and we'll do a bushing for it, and then we'll see how we go with the axle itself. Normally it's the bushing that wears in them anyhow. Priceless. So where was I? I was trying to wind up and finish. Yeah, do the, let's call it the glass first, get that guy sorted, and then work on the reader. And it has to be, you know, I've done a DRO on my mill, and you know, you can be anywhere within a tenth of a millimeter, and you're very, very good. There is no problem, they're pure accurate. But with this thing, it just has to be absolutely on the button. And yeah, the problem with this is it switches off after about 2 minutes. Now, you know, I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but you switch it on, and it comes up with the last reading you had, and you think you're fine. And you probably are, for most jobs you are. But when you move again, if you've come off something and you want to go in another, say, 1/4 millimeter, you're coming up tight or something, that's when you've got to be very careful, because you lose that 100th on the first movement after the damn thing fires up. And I cannot figure that out. I was messing around with this thing to see if I could get a menu in it anywhere, or do something with it where I could get it to stay on longer. But it's probably because of the small batteries that are in it, the multi-button batteries, no, they're 32s or 32, whatever they are. It's probably on account of that they have a time thing set in it. Depends on how they're doing the time. Then you go opening it up, you could screw things up. That would be a last resort. Actually, if anybody has one of these and figured out how to get over that problem, that'll be excellent, because it is accurate. It is pinpoint accurate. It's very good for the money on that. So that's that explained. I better go. I probably have to go up to this guy and hammer that damn thing out and see where I go from there with it. There's no point in just, you know, measuring that and building up the stub axle, because I can't see any uneven wear on the stub axle. As I say, it's the bushing that normally wears. So that's that. I decided I put that bit together on that, and I'm very happy with it. It's great value for money.